Good morning, everyone. Good to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you again. Jen's going to read to us from Colossians 3, 12 to 17.
Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful. Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, singing to God with gratitude in your hearts. And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him.
Thanks, Jen. Over the last few days, we've looked at what Jesus said about forgiving others, and we've looked at what the Apostle Paul said about forgiving others. From this brief survey, it's pretty clear that we should forgive others because the Lord has forgiven us. But as I said yesterday, it doesn't necessarily make it easy, does it? I told a story yesterday of a time when I found it hard to forgive. In the bigger picture, a broken tennis racket's nothing compared to what happens to some people. I read a true story a while ago about a man on an interstate business trip. While he was away, he was unfaithful to his wife, had a fling with a young businesswoman. When he returned home, he debated in his mind about whether to tell his wife or not, but after a couple of weeks, the guilt got too much, and so he sat his wife down at the kitchen table, and through his tears he confessed his unfaithfulness and begged for her forgiveness. Now, understandably, it was a very emotional moment, but despite his wife's shock and hurt, she looked at him, and through her own tears she said, "I forgive you." Now, he could hardly believe it. It seemed so simple. But a week or so later, this man was sitting in his office thinking about his wife's amazing pardon, and he decided to go home and just thank his wife and tell her how much he loved her. As he opened the front door of his house, he heard crying from the bedroom. He walked over to the door, which was slightly open, and he looked in, and there was his wife kneeling by their bed, sobbing and repeating, "Lord, help me to forgive. It hurts so much. Help me to forgive." And as that man stood frozen at the bedroom door, he was struck by two thoughts. Firstly, he realised the greatness of his wife's forgiveness. But secondly, it dawned on him just how much his betrayal had cost her. Forgiveness is hard, isn't it? Forgiveness is costly. When God forgave us, it cost us the life of his only Son. He bore the pain of our sins so we can be forgiven. When we forgive others, we bear the cost of their sin in here, don't we? And it hurts. That woman was right to call on God for help, because often it's only in his strength and by his Spirit that we can forgive others. The way forward then is through prayer. If you find it hard to forgive, pray that God will soften your heart to enable you to do so. If the person doesn't know they've hurt you, it would be good to go and talk with them about it, as I did with the tennis racket. Some people find it helpful to perhaps write things down to get them out of their head. And if that works for you, do that. Write down what happened and why it hurt so much. But don't stop there. Write down on another bit of paper a prayer to God about the matter, asking him for the strength to forgive. Write down a prayer for God to work in the life of the other person. Pray the prayers, then burn the bit of paper with the grievance on it. As you do, ask God to help you let it go. In some cases, talking it through with a close friend or a Christian counsellor may also be helpful, so that they can pray with you and for you in it. Tomorrow we'll think further about forgiving others and the very difficult situation of what to do if they aren't genuinely repentant or sorry. I hope you'll be able to join us for that. We'll see you then.
See you then.